guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make house music like Black Coffee. So, as usual, you get the project files, samples, MIDI, presets, all that kind of stuff in this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it'll be available there shortly. And yeah, let's get started. So we're at 119 BPM. This is the loop you heard in the intro, and the first sound we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. It's pretty simple stuff here, and this is just like a pretty big kind of like soft type of kick. Basically, what you want to go for with this style is like a more like warm kind of round kick like this. Like, you know, this isn't a super like hard hitting like EDM kick or anything like that. It's not got a lot of click to it. It's just really just deep and warm, and it fits really well in this kind of more organic style of track. You know, if you had like a really clicky EDM house kick here or something, it wouldn't really fit so well. It would feel kind of out of place. And so, yeah, you know, you just want to try to choose a kick that fits into that. Also, if you want this one, it's available in the description. Anyway, after that, I just have a bit of drum bus. You can see I've just got the drive up a little bit. I've got that on medium, so it's hitting pretty hard. I've got the crunch up a little bit as well. And this is really just fattening the kick out. Here's without it. And with it, you know, it's like, it's a pretty hard-hitting kick. Like, if you just listen to the sample, pretty fat, but this drum bus definitely takes it and just gives it that extra little bit of punch. After that, I just have an EQ8, just kind of cutting out some of this mid-range here around like 250 hertz. I'll show you. Here's without it. And then with it. So it's just kind of scooping that range out and kind of cleaning the kick up a little bit. And yeah, after that, we have the bass, which sounds like this. So this is the pattern. It's basically just playing this bouncy kind of like bow, 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 bow. You know, pretty simple stuff. It's just kind of like in F minor. Nothing really too crazy here. But yeah, and then for the sound on this one, I made it using operator. And what this is it's a pretty simple donk type of bass. You can see we just have two sine waves here. They're an octave apart. I've got the envelopes set like this. And then I've also got the second one detuned a little bit. Just kind of helps to make it a little bit more interesting. Here's with no detune. And then with it, it's really subtle, but it just adds a little bit more texture to the sound. After that, I have those oscillators going into a low pass. So here's without that. And with it, it's really subtle. But the thing is with this bass, I just wanted to make it really like warm and round. Kind of like the kick. Like what I was saying is like, I'm just trying to make it like very just deep and round and kind of, you know, warm, because when you're working with FM synthesis in particular, you know, you don't want that like super harsh digital sound. Like if I turn off the filter, you know, you really want to avoid that when you're trying to make this type of track, because obviously this is a lot more organic, a lot more kind of like chill sounding. So, you know, having something like this filter kind of helps to dial it back a little bit. After that, I just have a bit of saturation, just kind of fattening it up. Here's without that. And then with it, you can hear it just helps to kind of bring it out and make it a little bit stronger. And then the last thing we have on here is just this compressor side chaining into the kick. And that is it for the bass. So then I have the kick and the bass in a group together, or a bus, if you want to call it that. And basically, this is just to kind of, you know, tighten up the low end. It's like when you have similar elements, like in this case, all the low end is in the kick and the bass here, or like the percussion bus down here. You know, you want to put them kind of in a group together and process them together, because it's going to make everything sound a lot more cohesive. It's like, you know, a lot of times I think people feel like, oh, how do I find samples that fit together super well? Or how do I make everything sound like it's kind of in the same world, you know? And this is how you do it. It's not about, I mean, it is about finding samples that work. Like I was saying, like I chose the kick, for example, specifically because I wanted something rounder and warmer. But it's not just all about like the sample selection. It's also about how you process them, because when you put the same processing on multiple things at once, in this case the kick and the bass, it makes them all sound a lot more together and cohesive, because they're all getting that same kind of sonic texture. So the first thing I have here is an EQ8, just cutting out some low mid-range. Here's without it. And then with it. So yeah, you can hear it just kind of cleans this up a little bit, helps get rid of some muddy stuff. And yeah, that's all that's doing. After that, I have this drum bus. So here's without it. And then with it. And what we've got going on here is I just have to drive up a little bit, the crunch up a little bit as well. And you can hear it's just fattening these up, but it's also helping to kind of glue them together a bit more. And yeah, that is it for the low end bus. So the next thing that we have is this little FM bell sound that I made, which sounds like this. So for the notes on this one, you can see it's basically just playing this kind of pattern. What I've done here is this is all based on an F minor chord. That's the key word, an F minor, like I was saying. And like you can see, for example, I've just taken here the 3rd and the 5th, G sharp and C. So if we were going to make a regular, that would be a regular F minor chord. And I just took that C and put it up an octave and then just got rid of the root note. You know, it's like doing stuff like that, like just playing around with inversions. And then I have all these kind of bouncy things over here. And you can see there's a bit of like a call and response too, because in the first bar, it ends on that, but in the second bar, it ends on that. So it's kind of like, you know, playing around with that. So like the main thing here is just trying to go for like, I guess you would say like a more like melancholic vibe. It's like, this isn't a minor key, but I would definitely say these bells, they don't really sound sad or like minor. They have more of kind of like a, I guess like an emotional vibe to them. Not sure exactly how you would say that. But yeah, that is it for the MIDI. And then for the sound on this one, it's made using operator. What we have here is we just have 3 sine waves. This is actually kind of similar to the bass. Like, yeah, but with this one you can see I've just got these all at different octaves, except for the first 2. I guess those are at this thing. But yeah, so what we've got going on here is you can see I've got the first 2 at this octave. You can see I've got the second one detuned a little bit. And then the third one I've got up a ton. So this is how we get the really metallic sound. Is that really high-pitched third oscillator. And if you bring that up, it gets like even more belly. So yeah, it's a good technique for making these kind of like more metallic bell type of sounds that you hear in a lot of deep house using FM. After that, we have this echo. I'll show you. Here's without it. And with it, you can hear this just doing 8 notes, and this really adds to like the rhythm of the sound, as well as kind of just adding some cool kind of, you know, background sound. Like it kind of keeps it, gives it some ear candy. So after that, we just have a bit of reverb, just giving it some space. You can hear the difference there, pretty standard stuff. And then after that, I have this drum bus. And the drum bus is just meant to kind of fatten this up a little. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear, yeah, it just kind of takes it from like a dry, kind of clean synth sound with a little bit of reverb to something a little bit more textured and kind of bigger sounding. After that, we have this compressor just side chaining into the kick. And then we just have an EQ8 cutting out the low end. And that is it for the bell. So then the next thing that we have here is the percussion, which sounds like this. So basically what's going on here is you can hear we just have these 2 little percussion sounds. I have this one and that one, those 2. And they're just kind of playing off of each other. So, you know, these are just kind of like some smaller, more like bell style percussions. The thing is, I really wanted to keep this as sparse as possible because this already is a lot. So to add percussion on top of that, it has to really stand out and not just kind of like fit into the frequencies and the sounds that are already playing. So that's kind of the idea behind these 2 sounds. I figured they were so high pitched and so like kind of out there that they're not just gonna blend in. Those are the percussions. Like I said, just 2 simple little percussion sounds. After that, we have the hi-hat, which sounds like this. So it's pretty simple. It's just like a clean, dry hi-hat. Nothing really too crazy here. With this one, it's more about the sample choice, you know? Like, if I were to use, like, say I got, like, a 909 hi-hat, like, something like this, like an open hi-hat. You can hear that doesn't really fit the vibe. So it's just more about, like, the type of sound that you choose here. And getting kind of like a smaller hi-hat like this. After that, we have the clap, which sounds like this. So basically, this just comes in every 4 bars to kind of like transition to the next part. It's pretty simple. Yeah, you can see I just have it going like that. Really nothing too crazy there. You can see it's just this little clap sample. I'll turn off the effects so you can hear it. And then I just have that going through some echo, doing 16th notes, and then a bit of reverb as well to kind of give it some space. You can hear it's a pretty long reverb, it's a pretty long echo as well because there's so much space there. I want it to like ring out. You know, this isn't like how you would set the echo and the reverb on like the bell, for example, where it's constantly going. But yeah, and then after that, I just have a bit of saturation. You can now just kind of beefing it up. And then the last thing we have on here is just an EQ8 cutting out the low end, and that's it for the clap. So then the last thing that we have here is the shaker, which sounds like this. Basically what this is it's the shaker loop that you're hearing. And yeah, I'm just putting it in here, and then I've got it sidechained to kind of make it fit into the groove. So this is a good way to kind of like take a shaker loop and kind of fit it more into your track. You can hear if I turn off the sidechain, it's really like, I mean that works as well, but I feel like it's a little bit too like on top of everything. But when we add the sidechain, you know, it's like ducking off of the kick now, so it's kind of like coming up with the beat, and I feel like it's just fitting into the groove a lot better. So that's the shaker, and then the last thing that I have to show you here is the percussion bus. So I have all those different sounds I just showed you in a group here, or a bus, whatever you want to call it, and basically what's going on is I'm just putting them through this drum bus to kind of like fatten everything up a little bit. I'll show you, here's without it, and then with it. So it's really subtle, but it just helps to kind of bring everything into the track. It's like I was saying with the kick and the bass and the bell, is like when you have these things, and with all the percussion as well, like you don't want to just have them be dry. Like you don't want, like for example with this bell, like if we just have no drum bus, it just sounds like a super dry synth. And like, you know, same thing with like the kick and the bass. Like listen to how thin these sound without this. And it's not that you have to just use drum bus. Drum bus is just a really easy way for me to show you because it's something included with Ableton and it's really good. But anything like this, like just putting all your kind of similar sounds, again, like in this case, all the percussion and hi-hats and the clap, or in the case above, like all the low-end elements, the kick and the bass, putting them in a group like this and then processing them together. It's just, there's really no better way to make everything sound cohesive and fatten it up. So that's what we got going on here. We got this drum bus. Again, it's subtle, but it definitely does the trick. And yeah, so that is pretty much it for this one. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Let me know who you want to see me make a video on next, or what style you want to see on this channel next. As always, you can get the project file, samples, MIDI, presets, all that kind of stuff from this video in the description. And if you're patient on my Patreon, check there because it'll be available shortly. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.